Poker is one of the most popular games in the world. It's been around for centuries and has been the subject of many movies. There are a lot of interesting stories and even myths about poker. Many players have been angry that the game has taken their money, while others have made millions from it. In today's video, we decided not to feed you with theory and statistics, but simply to talk about a couple of interesting cases in the history of this game. Before we begin, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notified of our new videos. Birthplace of poker. If the name Texas Hold'em didn't give it away, we're all here to tell you that poker was invented in the United States, in New Orleans to be exact. It is possible to find out where the first hand of poker was played, but historians agree that the game was created and developed in the Louisiana area. Ace in poker. In English, the highest card is called an ace, which comes from the Old French word as, which means one. In the past, the ace in the playing deck was at the bottom of the deck and was shown by a motto. Instead, it became the most important card and was played like poker or blackjack. The player can decide what the AC is worth. It can be either the highest or lowest card. The French Revolution had a big effect on what people thought was important. It started to stand for the power of the common person or of kings. The word ace started to be used to describe people who are the best at what they do outside of playing cards. Presidential poker. Politics and poker go together very well. This is especially clear in the United States, where 45 presidents have played the game. Richard Nixon, the 37th president, was the most famous poker player. Nixon won $6,000 while he was in the Navy, where he served for 2 months. If he changed this amount to modern money, it would be about the same as $40,000. He used the money to run a campaign that led to him becoming president in 1964. Later, this is something that happens to a lot of poker players. Nixon tried to take on more than he could handle. He basically decided to make a bluff in the terrible situation of the Watergate scandal, which shook the whole country. In the end, he was wrong, but he was also lucky because he didn't go to jail. The longest poker game in history. It is a record to play poker for 115 hours straight. Professional poker player Phil Lack beat the previous record of 75 hours at the 2010 WSOP. Phil was going to play for 80 hours to beat the record, but things didn't work out that way. From June 2 to June 7, 2010, Phil took a 5-minute break every hour at the Blasio cash tables with lines of $10 to $20. He could save these breaks up to take a long break. He said that he didn't drink caffeine or other stimulants during the game and was able to sleep for at least 30 minutes. People in the hall and more than 170,000 people online watched the poker game live. As a result, he made $6,766 during the longest poker marathon that went on for 24 hours straight. I also want to talk about a legend game that isn't on the list of records because there isn't enough reliable information about it. It happened in 1881 at the Birdcage Casino in Palm Stone, Arizona, which is in the US. At one table, people played without stopping for 8 years, 5 months and 3 days. It is said that about $10 million changed hands during this time. Given that inflation hasn't been taken into account, this is a huge amount of money. Only when bad weather caused the building to flood did the game have to be stopped. There is evidence that real-life people like Doc Holliday and George Hurst played the game. A bit of poker math. An intriguing mathematical fact. There are 2,598,960 possible poker combinations out of 52 cards in a typical card deck. This figure was generated by applying the usual common interest formula. Thanks to poker for the sandwich. In England, sandwiches were invented by Sir John Montagu, who got addicted to the card game, the Duke of Sandwich. He loved playing the game so much that he asked to have a table set up for him at meals so he could play while he ate. The first sandwich was made when he told his servants to put some meat between 2 pieces of bread so he could eat and play at the same time. Metaphysics in poker. Some people believe that a deck of playing cards has a spiritual meaning. There are 52 cards in a deck, which some believe corresponds to the 52 weeks in a year. It is believed that the 13 cards of the same suit represent the 13 phases of the moon cycle. Adding up all the numbers on the cards in a deck will result in 364, which is the number of days in a year. If a joker is included in the deck, the total number of days in a leap year is 365. Some people believe that the metaphysical meaning of the card deck is much nicer than the role it will play when all the numbers are added together, and you get the devilish number 666. Values of cards and suits. David, the famous king of Israel, is the king of spades. Alexander the Great, the king of Macedonia, is the king of clubs. Charles the Great, the ruler of the Carolingian dynasty, is the king of hearts. And Caesar Augustus, the Roman emperor, is the king of diamonds. It is also said that the four suits represent four types of people: the nobility, merchants, horsemen, and clergy. However, the history of cards is very long, and before the classic 52-card deck with four suits was decided, there were many different types of cards and suits in different countries, each with their own history. Let's decide with poker. New Mexico has had laws that are different from the rest of the country for a long time. One of them says that any game can be used to decide who will be mayor of any of the cities if all the candidates win the same number of wolves. This law was used in real life for the first time in 1998, which is about 20 years ago. In the election for mayor of the town of Extension, both James Barrington and John Carlson got 68 votes, so there was no clear winner. James wanted to play poker to decide who won, but John suggested they roll the dice instead. In the end, they played poker, and because James Farrington won, he was elected mayor. Hand of the Dead Man. There are nicknames for many pocket cards. Most people probably know American Airlines or Pocket Rockets. However, not many people know that Dead Man's Hand refers to a hand with two pairs, two aces and two eights, and one unknown card. The name Wild Bill's Hand comes from the fact that James Butler Wild Bill Hickok was shot in the back during a game while holding this hand. The story goes that Wild West hero Hickok beat Jack McCall at poker and took all of his money. He then told McCall not to play until his death was paid for, and he even gave him money for breakfast. McCall got mad, so he shot Hickok in the head. How the term nuts appeared in poker. Most poker players think of the best possible hand when they hear the term nuts, but some experts say that's not the case. This phrase came from the Wild West, where players could put more important things like a card or a horse in the middle of the table along with their money or chips. When a player decided to make this kind of bet, he or she had to twist the nuts on the wheels and put them in the part of the table that not only represented his bed, but also didn't let him get away quickly if he lost. In English, we call these little things nuts. This is the origin of the word nuts. When a player is ready to bet the most valuable, it means that they probably have the best hand at the moment. Write in the comments what interesting things you know about poker, what surprised you, and what new things you'll learn for yourself. That's all for today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to hear more videos from our channel, subscribe and make sure to turn on the bell icon.